First will be unilateral dumbbell Romanian deadlifts. Some people call these straight-legged deadlifts, although you do not want to keep your legs straight. You want to keep the weight on your heels to the point where you could lift your toes up in the air if you want to. Keep the weight as close to your body as possible. And the best way to do this is focus on sticking your butt backwards, not focusing on bending over, keeping a straight back. But if you push your butt backwards, that typically helps keep your back straight. It helps keep the emphasis on the hamstrings. Next are GHD Hamstring Curls with no assisted reps. That just means no pushing off the bench if possible. Use a prone hamstring machine at the gym if you don't have this. 4 sets of max reps with a 90-second rest break in between, and the 5th set we will be doing 15 reps in as many sets as it takes. Hamstrings are fried so far, only getting 4 reps on that last set. Set number 5, you have to get 15 reps no matter how many sets it takes you. Hamstrings are definitely feeling it though. So this is where using creatine can come into play. The Creatine-Phosphate system takes about 10 seconds to regenerate in your body, so that's why supplementing with creatine allows you to get 1 or 2 reps every 10 seconds a little bit easier, because you're able to regenerate that Creatine-Phosphate system, which is the initial energy system your body uses. So it's more important for power movements, which are 1 or 2 rep movements, like Olympic lifting and powerlifting. That's why if you ever notice when you lift and you can't get any more reps, but you rest for 10 or 15 seconds, you can get 1 or 2 more reps, just like this case. That's why you can do that. If you don't have a GHD machine and you're going to do these on a prone hamstring curl machine, try to pick a weight that's about an 8 to 10 rep max for you. That way you're not going to be able to get all those reps every set with a 90-second rest break. Next will be reverse hyperextensions. So this is a makeshift way of doing it using the GHD machine. A lot of gyms don't have a reverse hyper, but these are great to rehab and strengthen your low back, as well as glutes. It does work some of the hamstrings as well, but it's more of a glute exercise. So you're squeezing your glutes, which is extending your hip, because the glutes are a hip extensor. So do not use your low back to hyperextend your lordosis that you have in your lumbar spine. Instead, focus on squeezing your butt, and that should bring your legs up. And also try to focus on using the hamstrings. You do not want to use any of your low back to bring your hips into extension on this. Once you get fatigued doing bilateral legs, you can switch to doing one at a time until you can't get any more reps as a way to go to failure. And if you don't have a GHD machine or a reverse hyper at the gym, this is a way that you can makeshift your own. Doing one leg at a time, holding it at the top with a nice good squeeze should still get a pretty good workout. So an underutilized exercise for hamstrings and glutes are bridges. You don't even need weight. You can do single leg exercises. That should be pretty difficult because you're going to be lifting your body weight. So the progression from easy to difficult is this. Feet on the floor, bilateral or two legs, just like this. You do not want to hyperextend the back. So you go until the glutes are tight. So squeeze your butt. Once your butt is fully squeezed, you should not be able to get any more range of motion. And the only extra range of motion you're going to get is from the lumbar spine, which we do not want to hyperextend and cause injuries over time. Next will be single leg. So I cannot even get full range of motion because my hamstrings are so tired today after doing hamstrings. Next, you can use a bench. You can do bilateral, like this. And make sure your workout partner is watching your form. And then the most difficult will be single leg, like that. You can hold dumbbells, you can hold a plate, you can even put barbells on your waist if you want to. Another way to do these make sure your workout partner doesn't get in the way, is to bend the bench. This way you're getting a lot of hip flexion because we're going to be doing hip extension. You can hold weights here or a barbell here. So closer the feet are to your butt, the harder it's going to be. Easier out here. So doing these bridges will work the hamstrings and glutes. You can't really isolate one or the other, but you can emphasize one or the other muscle groups. So to do that depends on the knee position, because remember, the hamstring does knee flexion as well as hip extension because it crosses the hip joint, whereas the glutes only do hip extension because they do not cross the knee joint. So keeping the knee straight puts the hamstrings on a maximal stretch. There's no actin and myosin, or minimal actin and myosin to bind, so it's not really going to be able to help perform hip extension. So what's going to work is the glutes. So you can see squeezing the butt, squeezing the glutes like this, versus if I bend my knee, you can see the hamstring contracting right here, right as soon as I start to do hip extension. See the hamstring. There it is. And I already feel that. So, knee bent, hamstrings and glutes, knee extended, more glutes, minimal hamstrings. When doing these, try to dig the heel backwards like you're pulling. So as if you're doing knee flexion like a prone hamstring curl machine, how you bend your knee and bring the weight up. You're basically doing an isometric hamstring contraction as you're digging the knee towards your face. That'll help get more hamstrings as well, because that's what we want to focus on today. To make it even more difficult, as you come down, do not touch the ground. Right before you touch the ground, come back up. That way you have a really high time under tension, because these muscles are never getting to relax. And these last few reps where I have not touched the ground, it's burning after only 2 to 3. So even though it's body weight and my hamstrings are pretty strong, doing dumbbell RDLs with 125 pounds, these with body weight I could barely get 12. if your partners give you encouragement. When holding the weights, putting the weight here isn't really going to do too much because your chest doesn't really come off the ground. So you want to hold the weights on the hips. That's where the fulcrum is. All right, last. This is a DIY sled pull. Sleds, in my opinion, are the best cardio piece of equipment you can own. You can do so much with it. If you just had this, you could do pretty much any body part and get good workouts, not just cardio. So this is a tire. I was looking for one on Craigslist and driving around, seeing if people had them in the garbage. I couldn't find one, so I went to Walmart. This was brand new for 20 bucks, so pretty cheap, but most people can find them. You can even go to tire stores and ask them if they have spare ones, but I think they still sell them. Then I just got an eye bolt and made a hole, put it through, and you just have a screw on the inside so it doesn't pull out. A chain from any hardware store, and then these hooks. And then for the inside, I just got 4x4s and just cut them into pieces. There's a bottom layer here, and then just put these two, and then this is plumbing pipe from a hardware store, and you just screw it in, and that's it. To get the wood in, you just put screws through. Probably need a power screwdriver, but you just put the screw through the rubber into the wood, and that's it. Altogether, I think it was $32 or $35, and you can do tons of stuff with it. So we're about to do a hamstring exercise, not cardio focused, but strengthening focus. So let's go ahead and go. So pulling backwards on sleds. For the sled, we'll focus more on the quadriceps versus forward pulling is going to be more of your glutes and hamstrings. Of course, you're going to get some quads and calves with that too. So we're going to focus on hamstrings today. Last exercise is the sled pull for strengthening, not cardio. You want to make sure you're pulling with your heels like this, not pulling with the toes like this. Pushing through the heels will focus the weight on the hamstrings and glutes.